I'm Deborah Gianoulis. For 24 years at Channel 4, I listened to people and told their stories.
And tonight, let's hear a little bit of her story. Deborah came to Jacksonville fresh from the University of Delaware. Her first job was with Channel 12. Later, she was recruited by Channel 4. Through changing hairstyles and fashion, Deborah and her co-anchors became our trusted source for news and information in Jacksonville.
What I learned at Channel 4 is that you always had to be bold and you had to be accurate. We always challenged ourselves. Our standard was beating ourselves. And I think we had at Channel 4 a real reputation for integrity and respect, and we demonstrated that in the way that we behaved in the community, and I'm really proud of that.
Deborah's work earned her many accolades and awards, including 2 Emmys and a Peabody for her work on military and education reporting. She had reached a pinnacle in her journalism career.
It was, as my former news director said to me, "You've done everything you can do in this industry." I'll never forget him saying that night at the Peabodys, and I thought that was giving me the release, the freedom to try something else.
Deborah entered a world of volunteerism and advocacy, centering primarily around her passion, education, and early learning. In 2010, she felt called to make a run for the United States Senate with a platform centered on creating jobs and improving education. After a disappointing loss, her path led unexpectedly to a new opportunity as CEO of the Schultz Center for Teaching and Leadership.
None of this was planned. I really do believe that we are here to create the future and that we cannot be bound by the past. It informs us, but does not determine what's next. And that's what I think is important in the way we conduct our lives. We owe something back to communities that have been so great to us.
You know, Deborah is very smart. During her time at Channel 4, she was the news anchor that really dug into stories. You'll remember that she went out on military ships, that she did cutting-edge stories on sexual harassment and domestic violence. So she always wanted to go deeper, and so she always has been a very curious person and valued education deeply. When she retired, she spent some time thinking about what was next, and she kept coming back to education and how important that was, and that was an area that she believed she could make a real difference in Jacksonville, and boy, was she ever right.
She is the voice of public education. She is not reluctant in any way to make it very clear to you that I think that the key to the success of our community, indeed of our country, is having a strong public education system.
I am so driven to see opportunities for every child like I had. Do I remember a teacher, Mr. Wilson, 6th grade, Falk Road Elementary. We left Catholic school that year, and I entered from black and white to a world of color. I had never had music or art. I was never allowed to move around in a classroom during lessons. I had never been in such a colorful, alive environment. Mr. Wilson in his green tennis shoes, I will never, ever forget what he did for me. He also communicated to me as a girl that I could be anything I wanted to be, and I'd never heard that message before. I could be anything I wanted to be, and I had to be responsible to behave appropriately. I got my first and only C in Mr. Wilson's class. I got a C in citizenship because I couldn't stop talking. I was so liberated to be able to express myself. So I've learned over the years, although some people would say that probably is what propelled me into my first profession.
The skills young Deborah learned as a child went on to serve her throughout her life.
One of the things that has impressed me so much about Deborah, she does her homework, and so she has tremendous credibility, and I think she recognizes the credibility she has in this community from her work in the news media. And so she wants to know what she's talking about. And I think that's the one thing that people need to appreciate. When she takes on a project, she owns it. she learns it. She becomes an expert in it. And so with that, she has the credibility. And I don't think you can be a great leader, and you can't lead for very long if you don't have credibility.
Well, Deborah Gianoulis is a community trustee. She cares deeply about Northeast Florida. She cares deeply about the people who live here, work here, play here, and she wants to make a difference. It's about what can she give, what can she bring to the table, and how can she create fundamental change that perhaps can lay a great groundwork for the future.
In her personal life, Deborah has been married to David Heald for over 30 years and has 2 children, all of whom she credits for making her who she is today.
I'm really loved. I have a remarkable husband and great kids. Oh, I knew I'd do this. And they'll be laughing because they know Mom's pretty soft-hearted, but I have an unbelievable family who challenge me to be who I am. And I hope I do that for them. They inspire me. That gets me up in the morning.
Deborah is also inspired to give back to Jacksonville, the place she calls home.
I can't imagine being neutral about the place where I live. All I know is that it's important that all of us take who we are and bring it into the public sphere and have a conversation about where we want the community to move forward. We have got a way in this community to move us forward, and I believe public education. I believe public education is the unifying factor in all of this. And I think we are really at a precipice right now. We have an opportunity to make a leap.
You know, as we think about legacy, I try to remember that there's a whole lot of people here in Jacksonville who never knew Deborah Gianoulis as a TV anchor. They're going to only know her as a leader in education and a force for change, and it's pretty cool.
Thank you for letting me tell this story. I'm Deborah Gianoulis.